Why do people become car salespeople? Okay, good answer. Bullshit.
That's what we were told to say, pretty much.
Well, yeah, but look, the reason most people become car salespeople is because whatever they meant to do, whether it be drama, the restaurant business, being a doctor, whatever they meant to do didn't work out for whatever reasons. And it's an easy job to get as long as you can pass a drug test, you haven't committed a felony for the last 6 weeks, and you've got a driver's license. But just because it's an easy job to get doesn't mean it's an easy job. As a matter of fact, it's not an easy job. Anyone that tells you it's an easy job is a liar. Okay? It's a difficult job, but the law of economics states that if the job is hard, you get paid well. If the job is easy, you don't get paid so well. So, is there opportunity? Well, yes, there certainly is. In 1978, I had a good job. I was highly educated, had a master's degree. And one night, my wife at the time and my parents took me out to dinner, and it was sort of a setup because none of them were happy with my job. I'd go to work at 4 in the afternoon, get off around 2, and get home about 5. I was a bartender in Atlanta, back in the roaring 70s. So they prevailed upon me to go get a real job. You know, my wife said, I didn't marry any bartender. I thought, well, yeah, you did. That's what I am. My old man said, he spent a lot of money on my education. He goes, I didn't spend that for you to be a bartender. So I spent 2 or 3 months going through the help wanted ads in the Journal-Constitution because the internet had not been invented yet. And I was answering these display ads, executive management, this, that, and the other, and I'd go to a place and I'd be there at 9 o'clock. I'd go through a battery of tests till noon, go out to lunch with an executive, and then go through a series of interviews in the afternoon. And invariably, in fact 100% of the time, I got a letter 3 or 4 days later saying, Dear Steve, well, you seem to be a fine young man. We don't have a spot for you. So, I mean, I got no, I got hell no, I got get off the property no. I got lots and lots of no's. So I'm having a beer with my father, and he was a he spent 40 years with IBM. And he was a salesman with IBM, then became a manager and an executive. And he said, hey, Steve, why don't you think about selling something? I said, selling? Guy with my education, why would I sell? He looks at me, I can only imagine how stupid he figured I was. He said, well, there may be some opportunity there. So I said, okay. So I opened up the Journal-Constitution the next day and turned to Help Wanted, started with the letter A, and guess what popped up? Automobile. So there was a Chevy store not too far from where we lived, so I called and said, I'd like to interview for the job. And they said, well, sure, come on down. I said, what time? The receptionist said, any old time. I thought, that's odd. When will I take all the tests, go out to lunch with the executive, and go through a series of interviews? So I showed up at 9 o'clock just to make sure I wouldn't miss any of this. The receptionist says, sit down. About 5 minutes later, a guy comes out and takes me into his office and interviews me. This is the interview. Michelle, you be me, and I'll be the interviewer. You ready?
Okay.
So, Michelle, you like people?
I do.
You like cars?
Yes.
When can you start?
Anytime.
That was it. I said, well, anytime. Be here tomorrow. I said, okay. Well, I'm jacked out of my mind. Someone said yes. I float out of this place. Luckily, this was well before drug testing.